One of the most heartbreaking realizations that many women eventually have in their marriage is this. You spent years trying to fix a relationship that was already wounded long before you arrived. Because the man you married may still be reacting to emotional injuries that happened in childhood. In our private coaching called Detox Your Marriage, we encounter this almost 100% of the time. Seriously. It creates a painful situation for many thoughtful women. You're trying to build a healthy relationship with someone whose emotional survival system was built in a completely different environment. Now, later in this video, I'm going to explain something that many women suddenly realize, but unfortunately only after years of confusion. There's a very specific moment when a husband's childhood trauma begins turning against the marriage itself. And once you see that moment, you start understanding the arguments, the defensiveness, and the emotional distance in a completely different way. Now, before we go further, let me say something very clearly. Understanding where these behaviors come from does in no way excuse them. But it does help explain why so many intelligent, thoughtful women end up feeling confused inside their marriage. Because when you first met him, he probably didn't look like a narcissist, right? He may have appeared confident, charming, protective, and you thought you had found someone strong, someone capable of building meaningful life together. But slowly the emotional climate of the relationship began to change. Criticism started creeping into conversations. You began feeling like you were always just doing something wrong. And the arguments ended with you apologizing even though you weren't sure what just happened. Many women eventually begin asking themselves a painful question: what am I doing that makes him treat me this way? Now, I want to say something very important right now. You did not create this pattern. The pattern was created decades ago. Now, let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever noticed that when you try to calmly explain how something hurt you, the conversation somehow flips and suddenly you're the one defending yourself? And you walk away from the conversation like, how did that just happen? If that dynamic feels familiar, you're not imagining it. It's actually very common in marriages where one partner is carrying unresolved emotional trauma and bringing it into the marriage from before. Many men who develop narcissistic traits in adulthood did not grow up in emotionally safe homes. They often grew up in environments where love was conditional, basically you earn it. Vulnerability was dangerous, like it was punished. Emotional needs were ignored or neglected. Some grew up in highly critical parents. Others grew up in chaotic homes where the child learned very early that showing emotion was dangerous because things are moving all the time. And so the child adapts by building psychological armor. And so he, instead of learning vulnerability, he learns control. Instead of learning empathy, he learns self-protection. Instead of learning emotional safety, he learns defensiveness and dominance. And what was necessary for his survival emotionally as a child becomes the very destructive dynamic inside an adult relationship. Now, here's the part that many women don't realize, and once you see this, you can't unsee it. Many narcissistic behaviors are actually they're defensive survival strategies that became permanent, essentially personality traits. See, when he was a child, those behaviors were necessary, critical to protect him emotionally. Protect him from shame, from humiliation, from emotional exposure. But now, it's playing out tragically. Those same defenses are pointed directly at the one person closest to him who loves him, which means something deeply painful will unfold in the marriage. The woman who loves him the most becomes the person his trauma is being acted out on the most. And you can try being your absolute best to create calm, to communicate, to repair, yet somehow you still end up being treated like you're the enemy. And over time, living in this dynamic is going to slowly wear down even the strongest person. You may begin second-guessing your own perceptions, wondering if maybe he's right, you're too sensitive, too emotional, too demanding. But often what you're experiencing is that just simply the psychological effect of living with someone whose nervous system is constantly on defense. Disagreement feels to him like an attack. Feedback to him feels like humiliation. Vulnerability feels like dangerous to him. And that creates exhaustion and loneliness for you in the marriage. And we've heard it frequently, a deep sense of grief because the relationship that you hoped for seems completely unreachable. Now, understanding his trauma background can give you an important kind of clarity. It can help explain why these patterns exist and help you to let yourself off the hook as being the problem in this one. You see, the truth is you cannot heal wounds that were created decades before you arrived on the scene. Sure, you can invite growth and you can set healthy boundaries. You can strengthen your own emotional stability, but you're not responsible for repairing trauma that somebody else refuses to face. I'm curious here. How many of you have started realizing that your husband's behavior may actually be connected to wounds from a long time ago? Let me know. Because many women tell me that once they see this connection, it suddenly explains years of confusing arguments and reactions that don't make sense. So let me ask you something simple. Did this video help you realize something new about your marriage? If it did, simply write, "That explains a lot," in the comments section. I read all those comments, and it also helps other women who read the comments to realize, oh, wow, I'm not alone. It's not just me. And that's so important. You know, there's a link down below also where you can join our Detox Your Marriage community. It's totally free, nothing for sale there. The link is down below. And if this conversation helped you to bring clarity to your situation, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Because the more you understand these patterns, the more freedom you enjoy in your life.